Welcome to all of you from around the world who are joining us to learn more about the Sisters of Notre Dame and our missions in Uganda and East Africa. Hello, my name is Sister Lisa McGaffin, and I'm coming to you from California. To our sisters and brothers in Africa and Europe, good evening. To everyone in the Midwest United States, good afternoon. And to those of us in California, good morning. As Jesus said, where two or three are gathered in his name, even virtually through the wonders of modern technology, we can be confident of the divine presence. It is good that we are gathered together. Thank you so very much for taking time on this Palm Sunday to join us. And a heartfelt thank you for your spiritual support, your encouragement, and your financial contributions that have made all of this possible over these last 25 years. As you probably heard or read, please pray for our sisters and students in Busesa, Uganda. In the middle of last Tuesday night, March 23rd, 5 masked men broke into the St. Julie mission. They stole money, technology, and a sister's passport. Thankfully, there was no incident in the schools or student dormitories, and the authorities have been notified. Please pray for our sisters and students as they recover from this traumatic difficulty, especially since the national testing is underway for the students, which requires much involvement and attention from everyone. And so we will begin with a prayer. I invite you now to embrace that silent place in your heart. Our Lady of Africa, Mother of the human family, be mindful of all of your children this day, especially your children in Africa. Mary, you are full of grace. Look upon all those who do not yet know Jesus. Mary, who are one with Christ in suffering and in glory, be mindful of those in great difficulty. In particular, we pray for our sisters who were recently traumatized. May their attackers be inspired to abandon all violence, and may they discover the liberation of the cross of Jesus. Mary, you turned to Jesus when you saw people in need. Be mindful this day of all peoples in distress, those suffering from COVID or rampant poverty or discrimination or violence. Through God's grace and our own acts of justice and charity, may healing and peace prevail in all hearts around the world. Mary, together with the apostles at Pentecost, you received the breath of the Spirit. Be mindful of our sister missionaries and all disciples of Jesus. May we announce the word with authenticity and proclaim it by our every action. May young people hear the call of Christ and follow him with joy. Our Lady of Africa, Queen of the universe, be mindful of all humanity on the way. May Christ, your Son, gather all peoples in the unity of his Spirit to the glory of the Father, for ages to come. Amen.
So once again, thank you for coming this morning. My name is Jen Quito. I'm also joining everyone from California. And just a few housekeeping things about our session today. So it is a webinar, so we can't see or hear you, but you can hopefully see and hear us. Today we have Sister Lisa and myself in California. You'll also hear from Jody in Covington, Kentucky. And as Sister Lisa mentioned, due to the break-in at St. Julie Mission, we won't have the sisters joining us live from the mission as they deal with that, but we are so privileged to have Sister Christine, who has spent time at St. Julie Mission, and she'll introduce herself in more detail, joining us as the new delegation superior for East Africa. So we have a lot of exciting things planned for you today, and you can send us messages in the chat. You can either send something to the whole group, or you can send something just to the presenters. You can also send a Q&A. There's both chat and Q&A on your screen, and that will put it more like a question. We will pause if whatever you bring up is something urgent, like the sound has gone out, you can't hear someone, you couldn't understand something, but otherwise we'll save most of the questions for a designated question and answer time. And if you have any trouble with connectivity or you can't hear us, let us know in the chat. We can always back up or try and see where the glitch is. So if you have any questions, we've seen some people raising their hands. It's better if you type it in the chat rather than us trying to unmute people to ask a question live. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over now to Sister Christine, who is joining us in her new role today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. My name is Sister Mary Christine. I'm very, very happy to be part of this great presentation today. And I am presenting from Nairobi, Kenya. I am the newly elected General Delegation Superior of the Holy Spirit General Delegation, which is now made up of 3 countries, Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. And St. Julie Mission is very much part of this delegation. Before 2015, Kenya and Tanzania used to be a provincial delegation, meaning that it was under province, that is Assumption Province of India, because the sisters who started the mission in Tanzania and Kenya came from India, just like the sisters who started the mission in Uganda came from United States and Germany. In general, I would like to let you know about the leadership team in the delegation. I am the newly appointed General Delegation Superior, and in this leadership team, we have 5 members. These 5 members are Sister Mary Margaret Kadhambi. She is a Kenyan sister, first counselor, and the Assistant General Delegation Superior. We have Sister Mary Elizabeth. She is also from Kenya as a counselor. Sister Mary Rosalia Katusabe. She is from Uganda. She is also a counselor. And Sister Mary Gladness. She is from Tanzania, and she is also a counselor. The 5 of us form the delegation government team. When we add 2 members who are Sister Teopista, our delegation secretary from Uganda, and Sister Tris Marie, our delegation treasurer from Uganda, then we form the delegation administration team. This delegation administration team is made up of 7 members, as I have mentioned. 3 of them are from Kenya, 3 from Uganda, and 1 is from Tanzania. We only have 1 from Tanzania because entirely in our mission in Tanzania, we have only 2 sisters in Tanzania who are finally professed. And so we have 1 of them in this leadership team. This is East African General Delegation because the 3 countries are East African countries. And that is why this name East Africa is coming in every now and then. St. Julie Mission is part of this delegation. It is now a unit of a larger group of S&D mission in East Africa. As I have just mentioned, in the beginning, we were like separate, Tanzania and Kenya belonging to Indian province and Uganda belonging to 2 provinces in United States. Right now, we belong to the generalate, and that is why we are general delegation. As a newly elected leader now in our delegation, together with the team, we have some things which we are looking forward to. And one thing I would like to say is this delegation was formed in 2015. And since that time, Sister Mary Roshni has been the delegation superior, and her term is ending in May. And that is also the time the new team will be installed. So far, we don't know the date. We are still waiting to hear from our Superior General when that event will take place. But already, since we had a meeting in Tanzania in December, we already started thinking, dreaming, having hopes and dreams. And some of the things we are looking forward to seeing happen are as follows. For example, in Uganda, we have a new land that we purchased there. This new land is just 20 kilometers from Busesa, St. Julie Mission that we have there. And this new land was what we are thinking is shifting the St. Julie Model Primary School to that new land so that we can have enough space for any DA in Busesa to take part, to use the facility for the primary so that we can take in many more girls. So far, we have the school there, but the space is not enough, because if you would look at the way it looks on the admission day, we have so many girls coming from the area and we send them back because we don't have place for them. And since the girls who are there, we have found out that they are really benefiting a lot from our education system that we have. That is why we are looking for opportunities to accommodate more. Even St. Julie Primary still doesn't have enough space. So we are thinking if at all we get an opportunity and the needed finances to build another school in the new land, it will be very easy for us to reach out to many, many more girls who are in need of this quality education. At the moment, it is a big challenge even to access that land because there is a swamp before we access the land. It is a swampy area and we need even a proper road so that we can reach the land. But we hope that with God's grace and help from many, many people who are part of us and part of our mission in East Africa, one day this our great dream will be realized. Also looking at Mpala community, because one of our dreams is to become self-sustaining, at least to be able to manage ourselves here, except for the projects and the constructions and all the other big things. But when you look at us at the present, we are depending also much on our generous support from our donors. Especially the COVID time, we were badly hit. And with that, when the schools were closed, it was like it is very difficult now to move forward. So looking at Impala community, which so far now, it is actually in Uganda. It doesn't have any source of income anywhere to sustain the sisters. So there is another dream to have to expand the nursery school that we are having there, because we have so many children in the area. It's a good catchment area because it is near Kampala, the biggest town in Uganda. So we feel that if we build some more classrooms, we'll be able to accommodate many more children from the area. And in that way also, our sisters become self-sustaining. I am also looking forward, together with my team, to seeing many more members joining us. We are in a discussion on how to make more members join us from the girls from outside, so that they can learn the ways and the life of Notre Dame and work together for the kingdom of God, so that we can be able to reach out to many more people. So as different units, communities, we are working together in promoting vocations so that we can get good vocations to our congregation, especially for East African mission. We are also thinking of, especially when we talk of St. Julie Mission, let us talk about our nursery school, our primary school, our Notre Dame Academy Secondary School. All of these are on a diocesan land. So having a land that is ours, also bearing our name, Sisters of Notre Dame, having the title deed for Sisters of Notre Dame, that will be a great thing. So as a newly elected leadership team, we are also looking forward to seeing something else happen, that is purchase of a new land in Uganda, if it will be possible, so that we can have at least places whereby we know they are our own. We don't really rely so much on the diocese, because whatever we have in Busesa, everything is on the diocesan land. We know all this cannot really happen without generosity of our donors. We have really reached this far, and where we are, it is because of the generous contribution of our dear benefactors, whom we treasure so much. And I would like to thank all those who have been part of this mission, those who have helped us in coming this far to reach where we are this time. I thank each person, even if I really don't know them. I want to tell all our donors that we value their contributions towards the mission here in East Africa. And we are very grateful, and we pray for each of them together with their families. These days, actually, we are intensifying our prayers for them, especially during this trying time of COVID-19. We are very grateful to our donors wherever they are. I would just want to express our gratitude on behalf of all the sisters, and I want to let them know that we value their contributions, and we are very happy with the help that they are giving us, and that is why we are also able to help so many girls, especially at NDA where I have been. And my experience was really wonderful working at Notre Dame Academy in Busesa for the past 1 year. I was appointed in 2019 to be the head teacher there, and unfortunately, in March, we went into lockdown. That means I worked there first before lockdown only for 3 months, or less than 3 months. Then from there, we continued to help and assist our girls, but it was very challenging. We tried to connect them with the WhatsApp groups, and the teachers were able to send even questions to the girls, but we were not able to reach all of them. Technology, looking at the place where we are, it's very remote. Even sometimes we do not have network in some areas. but at least I was very happy we were able to reach to 26 girls out of 42 regularly. And when we opened the schools in October 15th last year, then we went back and assisted all the girls whom we were not able to reach during the lockdown. So my presence is there was actually, I was very happy to be there. I just observed when we were taking in the new senior ones, especially in 2020 January, the way they came to us looking like coming just from that local place and observing the way they finish senior fours, how they look like. I realized that exactly our work there is not a waste. It has brought a lot of transformation to the area. It has brought a lot of transformation to the girls. These girls go out of this school when they finish really empowered. And I'm very proud to say that today in Uganda, we have real mathematicians from Notre Dame Academy. We also have scientists working in big hospitals in Uganda from Notre Dame Academy. But when you look at the place where the school is situated, the locality, it is a real village area. And I am so happy that we are giving actually voice to the girls who come from this male-dominated area. And I feel that they get very much transformed by the time they complete their senior 4. And now that we have senior 6, all the more, we are helping them. Because when you look at half of those who are in senior 6, they are mainly from our O level there also. That means we are continuously helping them now from senior 1 to senior 6. And I feel that that is great. And it is really God's providence to have also that advanced level in Uganda, at that part of Uganda, the remote area. I really loved their friendship and their simple nature, which helps us to reach to them in the proper way. And also they are so receptive because of the way they are. I also loved their discipline. The girls in Busesa at NDA, they are well disciplined. And the credit goes to our founding sisters, especially Sister Rita and Sister Anita Marie, who were the head teachers before. They really worked very hard to bring that school to that standard. And one good news is to know that this school is helping. In 2019 result, Notre Dame Academy stood #1 in the country in mathematics. That really was great. And you can see how much our sisters really have worked to bring our girls to that standard. And they were #16 overall in the country. That is great. And when you look at these girls, they are just from the village. When we admit them to our schools, they are not like cream, like those who are taken to the big schools in other parts of the country. They are just very simple. Their performance is low. But for us, in our hearts, we know that they are able. And that is why we take them the way they are and we try to empower them. So I have enjoyed every moment at Notre Dame Academy. I surely miss very much NDA family in Uganda. And I again thank our donors who have enabled us to have such a great school in that part of the country. It is really important for those girls to be educated, especially in that male-dominated region, so that they come out and they become good citizens who later transform the society. Our girls grow in our hands and they begin to have really voices in the society, as I already have mentioned. I really feel it is good for our sisters and donors to know that their contribution, once again, is not a waste. It has transformed many girls, and indeed, St. Julie Mission and East African delegation is shining because of the generosity of many, many more people who put their little, and finally, the little becomes very big. Please continue to help us. And this is the time we need you the most, especially our donors and our sisters all over the world, because it is a time of transition whereby we are having leadership from Africa, typically made up of African sisters who are in the leadership team. We have great dreams and hopes. We cannot realize them without the help of our sisters all over the world and our dear benefactors. I am very, very happy and very grateful to have this opportunity to voice out some of these things to all the people who are listening to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sister Christine. That was just wonderful. And thank you so much for joining us. I know it's, 9 o'clock at night now in Kenya where you are. So hopefully you can stay up a little bit longer with us. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody. My name is Jody McElfresh. I work in the Mission Advancement Office in Covington, Kentucky. And as we mentioned, our sisters in Uganda who were originally scheduled to be on the call today, they can't join us. They're taking care of all the frustrating things that happen when something gets stolen, canceling bank accounts, canceling phone accounts, everything like that. But we were able to do a recording when we did a trial run of this Zoom. So I am going to try to share my screen, and it worked every other time. Let's hope it works now, to share a message with you from them.
I am Sister Mary Scovia, a teacher at St. Julie Primary School. Thank you.
I am Sister Mary Petronilla. I teach at Notre Dame Academy.
My name is Sister Mary Catherine. I teach at Notre Dame Academy.
I'm Sister Violet Marie. I work in information and in the farm.
My name is Sister Maria Juliet Kiakoha. I teach at St. Julie Nursery School.
I'm Sister Mary Magdalene, the head teacher in Notre Dame Academy.
I'm Sister Mary Juliet, a teacher at St. Julie Nursery School.
I am Sister Mary Rosalia, a head teacher, St. Julie Model Primary School.
My name is Sister Scholastic Marie, head teacher, St. Julie Nursery School.
Thank you very much to all of you that are watching this presentation. The three of us are in Uganda, Busesa, Uganda, and it's very much a joy for us to be speaking with you. My name is Sister Mary Colette Theobald. I'm a sister of Notre Dame from the area of California in SND, USA. And I have been in Uganda since 2005, August, so almost 16 years now. And it's been quite an adventure these many years. So it's a joy to be speaking with you today.
My name is Sister Mary Rosalia Katsabe. I am a sister of Notre Dame. I'm a Ugandan and currently working in Uganda here in Busesa. I am a head teacher of St. Julie Model Primary School and the new appointed delegation counselor. I will be working with Sister Mary Christine. I'm happy to be in this Zoom meeting.
Thank you so much. My name is Sister Mary Catherine. I come from Kenya. I'm so proud to be working here in Uganda, working at our St. Julie Mission Busesa. I'm a teacher. I teach agriculture at Notre Dame Academy. I love the mission here and I have been working here since last year. Though with the lockdown, I couldn't have enough time with the students, but I have been enjoying the time I've been with them. Other than teaching, also I meet the girls, we socialize, I guide them spiritually, and so many other things. So I'm very happy to be part of this mission here in Uganda. Thank you.
There have been many challenges in 2020, and the sisters will share a bit about what they experienced here in Uganda.
2020 was a very beautiful year. It began very well. Everybody celebrated and welcomed it. And we thought that it would be just like any other year, but we didn't know what will happen. And 2020 was really full of so many challenges because we did not expect the lockdown because of coronavirus. But when coronavirus came to Africa, things started to change. We had planned a lot for the year and we had a lot of things which we really wanted to put into place. But with the COVID-19, we could not manage to continue with that. First of all, we stopped our mission, especially those who are working at school. We could not continue teaching the students and running the programs of the school. We had to release our students and pupils to go back at their homes as it was required by the government. Then also we had to release our workers from their duties because workers were not allowed to come into our institutions when they were coming from their homes because we didn't want to keep spreading the virus because we never knew who really was having the virus. So we had to release our workers. And this gave us sisters an opportunity to carry out various activities in our communities, even at our schools. And sisters, all of us came together and planned on how we can spend time during this lockdown time. And we came up with many things to do. And we began by doing agriculture because we didn't have workers. So all of us went to the garden, we cultivated, we took care of our animals, and everything went on so well. And that one made us to get a good harvest, of which even we could help the poor people and the needy. Those who didn't have food, we were able to share something with them. And also, it was difficult for us to get some supplies, even kitchen supplies, because we were not allowed to move. So we had to stay in, and it was challenging for us. We had to rely only on what we were cultivating from our garden, and this was really challenging for us. And we learned to make use of what we have and to keep working hard. Also, we were struggling in school to pay our teachers because the students were not there. We could not get income from schools, but still we had to cater for the needs of our teachers. Then another thing, a blessing out of COVID-19 is that we had good time together in the community. We came together as a community. We did a lot of activities together in the community. And most of all, we had enough time for prayer. We had adoration every day, whereby we could gather at least for 1 hour to pray for our world. And also, we gave the first priority to that prayer, which Pope Francis gave to us. We could pray it in the morning prayer and also during the time of adoration, offering the whole world to God so that the COVID-19 may come to an end. Also, we had the month of Rosary, that is May. We spent it very well with Our Lady. We could pray in different places. We could pray Rosary every day, personal and communal. So COVID-19 and the lockdown summer has been a blessing for us. We have enjoyed our being together in the community. We have cherished a lot and we have learned each other more than before. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Sister Catherine. I think last year was a very, it began well anyway, but it was a challenge year looking at how the schools closed. Of course, we were getting these news, we watched news and what we would hear, people dying here and there. We never knew that this coronavirus would, or the lockdown would eventually reach Uganda. And when it came, of course, there was a lot of panic as we closed up the schools, and parents coming, parents calling, what is happening with our children, children crying, what is going to happen, our parents dead, how does coronavirus spread? Of course, as an administrator, I was so much touched and challenged. I was always in a panic, closing the gates, closing people out. People would not access us, would not interact with people. So it was a terrible time around March. So as the time went on, of course, we made the opportunity out of every challenge, as Sister Catherine has just shared, agricultural activities, praying together. And of course, as Africans, we are used to meeting people, like socializing. That is an important value here. When we meet, we greet each other, maybe after a church, after mass, but it wasn't, we were all, when we came to the convent, we are all locked up. We didn't know how the virus would spread. We were afraid, so afraid that we locked all the gates. We made sure no person comes in. So even people admired to see the sisters, but they couldn't see us. And of course, from afar, people would tell us, sisters are afraid and what, but we didn't know how the virus, of course, it was spreading. And of course, it affected our social aspect, social part of aspect, because as you may well know, the African culture is one of hospitality, one of welcoming, one of enjoying it together, and that was not taking place. And of course, another challenge as the schools, of course, we had these teachers who were on contract and were to be paid until December, but it wasn't possible. We had to pay them until August. So we'd like to thank our sisters from USA, our sisters from Germany, our volunteers, our associates, our friends who were there for us during that time, because we could not have managed paying the teachers till that time, since children were not in school, if it was not because of your support and help. So we'd like to extend our sincere gratitude to all of you for your love, care, and all the monetary gifts. And of course, during that time, since the sisters were invited back, especially Sister March and our volunteer Hannah, she had to return home. It was a bit difficult for us. Of course, it brought up fear in us. Our sisters going to die. How are the volunteers? How will they reach? Of course, Sister March traveled for so many days. We could hardly sleep. We are spending almost sleepless nights until she reached home. We could hear that she has reached home and she was safe. So we were afraid that Sister Colette was also locked up there, since she's our local superior, and we didn't know what to do. So we are here by ourselves. We were here by ourselves. So we look at each other. We are all young. We have never been like in such kind of a mess, but we learned to struggle and to creatively think on what to do, even without our sisters, especially the local superior. So, but we are grateful for everything that happened, and we know God will still continue to protect us and guide us.
I too must add a word at this time. As Sister mentioned, I was in lockdown in the United States and I couldn't get back. I had gone for a home visit and COVID happened about 2 weeks after I arrived. And the airport here was completely closed down until October 1st. And on October 4th, I was able to return. Of course, we had some digital meetings and some phone calls, and I was so proud and am so proud of our sisters. They made the best of this terrible situation. They shared their fears and overcame their fears. And they just made me so proud of them. And I know that it was scary, but they managed very, very well. So congratulations, sisters. I would also like to say a great blessing that happened despite COVID-19, and that is through the hard work of Jody and Sister Lisa and their teams, and many of you that are watching this program, your donations for our water project came through and came to Uganda. And as soon as I was able to return and the companies could start working again, we were able to begin the project. And finally, after so long waiting, the water project is complete and water is flowing, and it's just been a great blessing. Here in Africa, we say, water is life, and we know that it is. So thank you all very much. Some of you might be interested in what are some updates here in Uganda or what's in store for the future. Well, something that happened about a year and a half ago is that a parcel of land was purchased. It's 50 acres, and it's about 20 kilometers from us here in Busesa. The land here in Busesa belongs to the church, though we have, by contract, we're allowed to be on this land for as long as we wish and as long as we do ministry here. But we also wanted some land that could be actually in the name of the Sisters of Notre Dame. So at a very reasonable price, we purchased this land. So it is hoped that we can begin to develop this land, and the community and others are giving advice on perhaps what we should do in the future with that land. In December 2020, at the very end of the year, we had what's called an assembly, and our delegation is Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda, and sisters traveled at great difficulty due to COVID, but we got there, and we met together, and among the items at our assembly was a hopes and dreams session. So we got together in mixed groups and we talked about what our hopes and dreams are for the future. And among those dreams are the idea of growing in togetherness as Sisters of Notre Dame of East Africa, being from different countries and different tribes. It can be a challenge to be one, so we want to work at that. We also have great hopes that we will be able to extend our ministries so that we can proclaim God's goodness more effectively in various ministries as we continue to grow and expand. We would like to continue to get good vocations. We have 32 temporary professed sisters. That means sisters who have not yet made their perpetual vows, but are in training. So our delegation is growing very quickly and very well. One of the hopes and dreams is that our sisters can be well educated for the ministries that we are desiring them to do, what God, we hope, is calling them to do. And there are many more that we came up with, but those are the ones that I thought you might be the most interested in. So thank you very much.
Well, I know that isn't the same as the real thing, having those sisters live to speak to us and to do some of the questions that we're about to get into now. But I know they wanted to be here. They sent their greetings today saying, hello to everybody who's watching, and maybe we can do something like this again down the road where more sisters can participate with us. But like I said, I think we're going to move on to some of the questions that we've been receiving. And please, if you have a question, do continue to submit it even while we're answering them now. I think I might just jump right into this. And Sister Christine, I'm going to unmute you just so we can make sure you can help us answer some of these and turn on your video. She should be coming back any second now. There she is. So one of the questions that we've received is, how many African sisters are there in the East Africa delegation, which we call internally the Holy Spirit delegation. So Holy Spirit delegation is the same thing as the East Africa delegation. So how many total sisters are there, and how many Indian sisters remain?
Okay, thank you so much. Now we have 69 sisters in the delegation. We have 4 sisters from India who are remaining, 2 from Africa, the rest are Africans.
That's a good number.
I've also seen a question concerning the new land being swampy and how the construction can be done there, and or what will happen when it rains and all that. I said that going to the land, there is a swamp that we cross. We pass through a swamp, but the land is very good. It is on a very high area. It is not a land whereby we can have any problem with the construction. It is not a land that is means nearing the swamp that we will have a problem when we do the construction. The problem is the road to access the land. We usually cross even during rainy season, but we cannot use vehicles to cross. No cars can cross. We can walk and go to the land. That is where the challenge is.
And just really quickly, we should note that the main road that comes by the mission, for the longest time, it's been a dirt path. And just in the last 2 years, it has been paved. So there is tarmac, which has helped immensely with that region in Busesa, just for access to supplies and getting from Kampala, the capital, out to where the mission is.
Yeah, before it used to be a walking place, also going to Busesa, where we have our community and our schools. It was just a path in the beginning when the missionaries went there. But today, when you reach the place, it looks so nice because the road is made. We are able to access the place very well. So there is no problem with that land. And concerning Sister Pauline's question, that is a land that is being considered for a cemetery right now.
Paula.
Thank you. We've had a few questions come through, Sister Christine, about students going on to university and how students from Notre Dame Academy are prepared for university studies and kind of where they go. And you mentioned that a little bit, but maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that next step, especially with the A-level now.
Okay, thank you so much. Actually, we have been having only O-level at NDA, but now this year we are having the first bunch of senior 6. And in Uganda, it is after completing senior 6 that the students go to university. So the other years we have been having them complete their senior 4 and join other schools for secondary school education, whereby they are being doing very well, and they always come back to tell us how they were faring in their former schools. Now we are looking forward to seeing our students being admitted into the best universities in Uganda. This is our very first senior 6. So we are just waiting and praying for them, even if we had this distraction in between because of the lockdown. So it is our first group. Now we are preparing to get admissions in the university.
And some of the students, they call themselves the old boys and old girls of St. Julie, or the old students. Some of them have kept in touch with some of our sisters here in the United States over the years. And some of them even use WhatsApp, a thing where you can send text messages internationally. And they've checked, a few have checked in recently. One young man is now an accountant living in Kampala. Another student is doing research and going on for his PhD in something with economics, I believe. And one of our old girls, Madrine, she graduated, went on to become a teacher, and now is going on to nursing school as well. So those graduates are being very productive.
Yeah, these old boys and old girls from St. Julie, from Notre Dame, many of them always come back, and they also tell us how they are doing. And one good thing, some of our teachers at NDA are our own OGs. We have 3 teachers there from the same institution, which is very good for us. And I feel it is because of the spirit that they get when they come to our schools.
And another question, Sister Christine, is do the girls live at the school? And if so, do they go home on weekends or only on holiday breaks?
The girls, once we open the school, they remain in school even during the weekends. They go back home when we close the schools. Sometimes we have short holidays, like this coming Easter. Easter holidays are short. Some go, some remain, those who like to remain. But during the long holidays, like in May, all of them usually go home. And the other times when we have holidays. Otherwise, they all remain in school. They don't go even during the weekends. We feel that they are very safe when they are with us. And even parents come to pick them on the closing days, and they bring them on the opening days.
And that includes the girls at Notre Dame Academy who are a bit older, and boys and girls who attend the primary school who can be as young as, I think 5 or 6 years old. So imagine sending a kindergartner off to board for 3 months at a time.
Sister Christine, we had a question that was submitted online beforehand asking about, do you know if the students will have the chance to be vaccinated or the teachers? We were just getting vaccines in the United States, and somebody asked that question, if that's something in Uganda that is forthcoming.
Actually, I left Uganda on the 12th of March. And before I left, there was that vaccination campaign going on. And they were saying the first priority they will give to the teachers. They were not really mentioning the students. And even now, when I go through the news, I usually see that they are encouraging all the teachers to get vaccinated. So I think the campaign is still going on. Many of them are getting vaccinated, but for students, not yet, because they are young.
And another question that had been submitted beforehand is, what are some of the other ministries throughout East Africa? I think many of us on this call, just because of Kentucky and California, we know St. Julie Mission, we know the Ugandan sisters, but what is there beyond St. Julie?
Okay, actually, let me start with Uganda itself. So far, we know about the schools, education ministry. But recently, at Impala community in Uganda, the sisters started one new ministry, social outreach. They have started women groups. And these groups, they will continue with them. Self-help groups, they are trying to empower women so that they can do something for themselves. This is something that we have in Tanzania. In Tanzania, we have a women's center whereby we have more than 50 women groups. They are getting trained in different things. And we have one sister who is in charge of them. She is Sister Kellen, a social worker by profession. and they get trained in soft making, making baskets, keeping animals, and they have these village bank communities whereby they have their savings and they are able to help themselves. So we also have an orphanage we call Aloysia Home in Tanzania also, whereby we have our sisters taking care of the children who are living in difficult environments. We usually take them when they are small, when they are starting their education, like in nursery, and we live with them. Now we have several of them already in secondary school. From the first ones we took in 2013. And we have two cottages, two like houses whereby we keep them, and everything is done there. Everything, even for their primary education, they go to our school, which is there. It's just within the same compound. But for secondary education, we send them out. So these ones who are studying, they are in our another school, which is a secondary school also in Tanzania. We have also sisters who are involved in catechesis, sisters who teach catechism in the parishes. So we also have sisters who are nurses. So we don't only have education, we have social workers, we have nurses, and we have sisters who are involved in catechetical work. And for here in Nairobi, actually, we have another outreach whereby our sisters go to the slum area.
Thank you. We had two different wordings of this question, but essentially, Sister Christine, what can we be doing to support you and the sisters? One person asked it as an associate, our lay partners in mission that Covington and California and other areas have. And then also some of the schools are represented on this call. They have groups or efforts at our schools here in the United States that support. So how can we be praying for, supporting, encouraging the wonderful things that are happening in Uganda and East Africa?
Oh, I feel there are so many ways of reaching to us and supporting us, continue to support us. Because when you look at the missions that we are having here, like apart from education that brings some income to the sisters, you'll find these other outreach ministries, actually, they don't bring anything. We just help and assist the people out there. For example, we have one outreach to, I don't know whether any of you have heard of Maasai people who are, I don't know whether I use the proper word. You look at them and you feel that they are somehow very primitive. We have a mission there, we have a school, and we have our good friends from Germany, Dialogue Project, that has been reaching out there in construction of the school. We have women groups there. That mission totally depends on the help from either from outside or from some of our other institutions. And like, for example, I've talked about the home for the less privileged children who are from difficult environment. When you look at them also, they depend totally from help which we get from outside. So it is not easy to run all these without really having help from outside. And when we are thinking of the new projects, like what I was talking about as our hopes and the dreams, buying of the lands, any construction project that we are thinking of, there is really nothing that we can manage on our own. That is where we need our able donors and well-wishers to come in and assist us materially, even sometimes with the prayers and in any way that they can reach to us. In fact, where we stand now, that is why I was talking about becoming self-sustaining missions. we are depending so much on the mercy of the good donors who contribute and help us and our sisters from United States. Otherwise, we still have a long way to build ourselves and say that now we are standing on our feet.
Thank you. Another question is, are the schools open in Uganda right now?
The schools in Uganda are open for the finalists. That means senior 4, senior 6, and P7. Actually, P7s are beginning their exams tomorrow, national exams tomorrow. So let us also remember them in our prayers. And the senior 6 will be beginning on the 9th of April. So we have the senior 3s also in school and the P6. But what we did in Notre Dame, because for us we like to have our children back, we have taken even the classes that are not really allowed to be at school at this moment, and we have been having them. So we don't have all the students, senior ones are not there, P3, P2, P1, nursery, not yet. But in Kenya, all the schools opened, but we just started our holidays last week. We closed again. And also Kenya cases are going up. So again, we are coming into lockdown.
Another question, in light of the incident, the break-in that occurred last week, what is being done to increase the security and safety for sisters, students, and staff?
So far, what I know is there are so many plans which are underway, and I know that Sister Colette is working towards that. Like, for example, getting a good watchman from the companies. That is one of the suggestions which were given, to get a nice watchman from one of the companies so that we are sure there is a company that is responsible. Another thing, looking at our Busesa community, for sure we don't have proper fence. But all these are things that we are thinking of. And when you talk to Sister Colette, even right now, she will tell you the challenge is finance at the moment we are having, because we need a proper, maybe boundary wall, because we don't have the fence that is there. I think anybody can come in, and that is why it was very easy for those people who broke in to just access the area without any problem, because we only have a chain link, which is really old, pretty old. So all the plans are underway, but we are also looking into the matters of finances to see how we can make the sisters feel secure when they are there. And at school also, it is the same thing.
Mm-hmm. And I think there's just in conversations with sisters over the years about the mission, there's a balance too between safety and security and appearing welcoming and a part of the local village, and not putting up big walls that make the mission seem like it's a very elite place. You still want to be a part of the local community. And you mentioned that we're looking into hiring another watchman or two. There is a watchman or two that work in the school section of the mission, which had no incident at all. And this is just hypothesizing, but maybe part of the reason why only the convent, which didn't have a watch person, that could be why the people targeted those areas. So maybe having that additional security staff will help without putting up big, scary walls.
Yeah, and it being the first thing like that to happen, nobody ever thought of that also. So it is something which has caught us in surprise, and we are also in shock, looking at the way we have been living with the people in the area, having good relationship. Nobody really ever expected something of that kind. Of course, we feel somehow insecure when we are in these communities where we are near the towns, big communities like here in Nairobi, let's say Kampala, Mpala. But in Busesa, for sure, nobody ever thought such a thing can happen. So it is something that is shocking, and we are really thinking about that.
Thank you. And Sister Christine, you mentioned it already, but I know Jody and I had talked about that beforehand, just to reiterate how unusual this is and how much support there's been for the sisters from the community and from other religious orders nearby when they heard what happened. So that, you know, just to communicate that to everybody on the call, how this isn't what we expect in Busesa.
Actually, being surrounded by good people in Busesa, whom we have been living together very well, and they are the same people whom bring children to our school. We have been living a very good life with them. And also the surrounding communities, we also have like other religious communities around who are not very close to us. So far, we have never experienced any tension between us and with any other group of people around that area. So I still repeat and I say, I really don't know till we know who are the culprits. We cannot really say whether these people were from around or they were from far away, or maybe they are from far away but directed by somebody who is from around the area. Because of when you listen to the sisters, how they walked and how they got in and where they got into the convent from, somehow also there is a feeling that maybe somebody who knows the place very well must have maybe directed. But according to Sister Violet, who saw them very well, she still doesn't know anybody. She doesn't know anybody. She was not able to recognize them. So we feel that the way the police is saying, they are working on it. So we are still waiting, and we will see whether we will get to know. At least once we know one person, we will understand the intention.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we only have one more question, unless anyone wants to submit some final ones. Sister Christine, are there any priests who participate at the schools, or in what capacity are priests involved?
Okay, thank you so much. In our Busesa community, we have the parish. It's just near, and the priests who are in the parish help us in school, especially with the masses. And the chaplain is a priest, means from the parish. We have one priest whom we are able to rush to in case we have any problem with the spiritual matters, especially during this COVID-19 time, when the time is so challenging. The priest told us to stop taking students to the church, so they come every Sunday to the school. So we have masses there in our St. Julie Hall every Sunday since the time we opened, since the time the COVID-19 hit. And I feel that they are really very much part of the mission there, and there is no time when we call upon any of them and they delay in coming. They also come and they hear the confessions from the students, and anytime we need special mass or something spiritual for the school, we call them and they usually come.
Thank you. Last call for questions. Anybody have another question? I think we've answered them all. If we didn't, we'll go back through afterwards, type everything up, and maybe send out something to everyone who'd registered for this. We have your email addresses. And just keep in mind too that Jen and I and Sister Lisa, we're available anytime to reach us by email. After this Zoom, I'm going to stay around the office for probably another half hour or so in case anyone has questions they want to send in. And we'll include our contact information in the chat before we close out. But if that's the end of the questions, I think we'll begin our conclusion of this. We said we try to keep it around an hour, and we're pretty close to that. First, please, Sister Christine, let me thank you for taking time to prepare for this, to speak with us, and just to connect with us. You have been so wonderful to get to know. And I think you just instill a lot of confidence in all of us here about where the East Africa delegation is going. You are already an awesome leader, and I'm just so excited to see where the delegation goes under your leadership. So we will be praying for you whenever that installation is, when you officially become the new superior. And just know you have a lot of people here in the United States. There's a couple of people on here from Germany too, who will be looking out for you. So anything we can do to help, just let us know.
Wow.
So
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your care. Thank you for your support. I'm really grateful on behalf of all the sisters. And I'm very, very happy to hear that you are there for us all the time. I know you have been supporting us in different ways. Thank you. Thank you so much for that promise.
Thank you. And to everybody who has joined us today, thank you so much for your interest in our East Africa delegation, your interest and love for our sisters and our students who you've gotten to know over the years, or maybe you're just getting acquainted with. I hope you feel more connected to them, and I hope that you'll continue to keep in touch with us. I should note that our next issue of the S&D USA magazine will feature a big article about global missions. So if you aren't on our mailing list, let us know and we'll make sure you get a copy of it. And just as we enter into Holy Week, all of us ask that you please pray for all of our sisters and students throughout East Africa, for their safety and well-being, for their courage to follow a call and to look at all the different needs and missions throughout Tanzania, Uganda, and Kenya, to look at these through African eyes and respond in the way that they know is best. Please pray for our next group of delegation leaders, which includes Sister Christine, as well as Sister Rosaria, who was on the recorded video that we played earlier. If you ever have any questions, contact Jen and me. We'll put our contact info up in the chat. But with that, I think I'll stop talking and I'll let our sisters at St. Julie Mission close out the event. So thank you everybody for joining us. I'm gonna share my screen one more time.
Our dear sisters in the United States, the sisters in Germany, our volunteers, our benefactors, our associates, and our friends. We are very grateful for this Zoom meeting and for this opportunity of being in this meeting, especially here in Uganda, where network was not very good. At least we are able to participate. We are grateful for your prayerful support and for the other kind of support, especially for financing the mission here and our delegation. So we are looking forward to keeping this communication with you, and we request you to continue working with us here in Africa as we are going to be a delegation, and of course with our newly first elected African delegation superior. We hope for your cooperation as we continue the mission of Christ. Thank you so much.
We are one big blessed family are we.